Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be talking about a slightly controversial topic, and that is, do I call myself doctor? Do I introduce myself as doctor when I'm speaking with patients, and do I use that title at all in my practice or in my life in general? So this is a topic that can get a lot of people fired up and passionate, but I wanted to talk about it because I've gotten a lot of questions in my comments and in my DMs, and even statements about it that weren't so friendly. So I thought I should address it and just tell you how I feel and what I do and what I think about the whole thing. First, I want to talk about the definition of doctor and the definition of physician, the actual definition from the dictionary. And then I'm going to talk about how the public perceives these two words, because a lot of people think they're the same thing. So first of all, a doctor is a person that holds a doctorate degree in something. That can be a pharmacist, a PharmD, it can be a doctor of geology, it can be a doctor in nursing anesthesia practice, it can be a doctor of medicine or a physician, it can be a doctor in anything. I think you get the point with all those examples. But also in the dictionary, it says under doctor, a physician, someone who practices medicine. So then the definition of physician is someone who practices medicine. Now, a better way to explain this, because it can get really confusing, doctor and physician, is every physician is a doctor, but not every doctor is a physician. And just to explain that a little bit, which I think you'll understand it because it's very clear, but every physician that you see practicing medicine is a doctor. They have a doctorate degree in medicine, and every doctor you see is not a physician because they could have a doctorate in anything, not just in medicine. So that's the clearest way to say it in my opinion. A lot of times these two words, physician and doctor, are used interchangeably in healthcare and have been for a really long time. And I think that that's what leads to the confusion kind of when people are talking about anybody with a doctorate introducing themselves as doctor. Now, I have a doctorate degree, but I do not introduce myself as doctor to my patients. Technically, I guess I would be allowed to, but I feel like it does create confusion. And also, I went to school to become a certified registered nurse anesthetist. Not a doctor. I did get my doctorate degree, which I'm very proud of, but I'm also very proud of my title of being a nurse anesthetist. So that is how I want to introduce myself to patients. I went to school for almost 9 years to become a CRNA, not to become a doctor of medicine. And I don't feel any less respected or any less important by introducing myself as nurse anesthetist and not introducing myself as Dr. Scholler. So another reason, besides me just being very proud of my title of being a CRNA, I also feel like it creates confusion with the patients, because to the general public, when they hear the word doctor, they automatically think physician. So they don't hear the word doctor and think, what are they a doctor of? And that's because of TV, media, just history. Doctors traditionally refers to physicians when you're speaking in the public and not in people who are specialized. So I feel like by introducing myself as doctor, it almost confuses the patient, because then they're sitting there thinking, why do I have all these different doctors? I thought that I just had my surgeon and that's my doctor. You already have to explain to them why the anesthesia team is separate from their surgery team. And I always introduce myself as, hi, my name's Rihanna. I'm gonna be your nurse anesthetist today. I'll be taking care of you. I'll be with you the entire case doing your anesthesia. And then if they don't know what a nurse anesthetist is, I explain that to them. I explain to them how I got my bachelor's in nursing, worked in the ICU, and then got my doctorate in nurse anesthesia. And we have very limited time with patients pre-op, so I try to just be as clear and concise as I can. If I'm working in an ACT model with a physician anesthesiologist, I will say, hi, my name is Rihanna. I'm a nurse anesthetist. I'll be taking care of you today, providing your anesthesia, and I'm working along with Dr. So-and-so, the anesthesiologist, and we're working with your surgeon, Dr. So-and-so, so they don't get confused. I just want to be clear, because sometimes if you introduce yourself, they get confused about where their surgeon fits into all this. That is my personal decision to introduce myself as Rihanna, nurse anesthetist, and not as Dr. Scholler. I think it could become confusing in healthcare if everybody who held a doctorate introduced themselves as doctor, because we have the PharmDs, we have the doctors of physical therapy, the doctors of occupational therapy, we have NPs with doctorates, CRNAs with doctorates, tons of people with doctorates in the medical field, and usually patients associate doctor with their physician. And I feel like if we were all introducing ourselves as doctor, it would just take up a lot of time that we don't have of explaining different things. Now, I don't think that's a good reason to not do something. Time is not a good reason to not educate, but I think that a lot of education would need to be done if we were gonna head in that direction, kind of as a whole, as introducing people with their academic titles. Now, for a second, while we're on academics, I wanted to talk about academic titles because I do use the title doctor on my research and when I'm speaking academically, or I'm speaking at a conference, or I'm speaking in that kind of way and not speaking directly with a patient. So for example, today I have a conference call and I'll be introduced as Dr. Rihanna Scholler. And I think academically, anybody who holds a doctorate degree should introduce themselves as doctor. I am proud to be a nurse. I'm proud to be a nurse anesthetist. And yes, I'm a CRNA, but I consider myself a nurse because I am still a nurse. I have a CRNA license and also a nursing license. So the best of both worlds made me into a nurse anesthetist, both degrees together. And I'm very proud of that, which I've said a bunch of times, but I just wanted to explain and make sure that I was very thorough because I feel like the comments could get a little crazy on this video. I understand both sides of this whole thing. I understand how it could be confusing to patients to have different people with doctorate degrees introducing themselves as doctors, even though they're not a doctor of medicine. But I also understand the side that wants to show everything you worked so hard for and introduce yourself with your academic title. So like I said before, I think that a lot of education will have to be done so that we can head in that direction if that is the direction everybody decides that they want to go in. Using a certain title in my practice doesn't impact my practice. So whether I introduce myself as Rihanna the nurse anesthetist or Rihanna Dr. Scholler, I practice exactly the same. I still have the same privileges, I still do the same thing, I still treat my patients exactly the same, and I feel like they still trust me the same. I also feel like patients love nurses because they feel a special connection with them because we're with them all the time. A lot of patients have had good experiences with nurses. Yes, I'm sure people have had bad experiences with nurses, and people have also had great experiences with physicians and bad experiences with physicians. But I feel like as a whole, the United States trusts their nurses. I also wanted to let you know that I didn't script out this video. I did look up the definitions of doctor and physician because I wanted to make sure I said them correctly. But it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot, something that's talked about a lot in the healthcare world, and also something I get a lot of questions about. So what I would like is if you guys would let me know below what you think. Try to keep the comments nice. I know that you can't sometimes when you're really passionate, but I've gotten like a lot of mean comments about this, and there's some like chats going on like other places besides YouTube about me saying that I shouldn't even be like talking about this and like the doctorate degree thing, and just some like not so nice stuff going on, which doesn't bother me because when people are talking badly about you, they're usually just projecting their insecurities onto you, and it's usually their own issue that they're just like spreading and just using you to kind of vent. But also doesn't feel really great when people are talking negatively about you because yeah, it's just not awesome. So I just wanted to say that really quick. Everything will be fine. Leave your comments below. That's it for this video. I hope that it was informational. I hope that it kind of helped you understand the whole thing. And I hope that you understand my view now and why I have my view. Be sure to let me know what your view is as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next week.